When cardinals appear, it's a gentle reminder that loved ones are near. I purchased that just after a few days after my son's funeral. And my intentions are to give it to my granddaughter one day whenever she gets old enough to be able to identify what was coming from my heart during the time that her dad wound up passing, which was my son. I'm going to basically put it in like a time capsule and seal it up real good to where can't no dirt or mildew or moisture get into it. And hopefully in 4 or 5 years, depending upon how she mentally matures towards being able to understand things, one day I'll be able to give it to her and explain who her dad was, who her dad wanted to be, who her dad was sacrificing to basically produce a good living for his family. This will be part 2 of this particular presentation with Barney on here. I'm going to back it up just a little bit. That way we can get all of it possibly. Just give me just a second to be able to fine tune my camera and get it back in the same position that I had it. That way it'll blend with the front to the back. I think that's just about it right there. Sorry. I'm thinking that right there is probably going to get it. Right there. Anyways, let me turn this back on. I'm going to listen to the rest of this real quick because, like I said, it's critical. It's very urgent. And it's not what Trump is doing, it's how that he's doing it that's creating all these problems and all this anxiety that I guarantee you on down the road 3 or 4 months, along about winter time, it's going to sure enough hit hard. It's sure enough going to hit home. Let's listen, please.
The right of people to express their point of view, no matter what it may be. You disagree with me? That's great. That's called American democracy. The right of people to vote without intimidation. Mr. President, today in an unprecedented way, we have federal troops in cities in America who have not been requested by a governor or a mayor. Today in America, we have people who are being snatched off the streets, taken right off the streets, or out of their workplaces by masked federal agents, thrown into vans and dispatched to detention centers without due process. Does anybody think that that is what America is supposed to be about? Somebody walking down the street, getting picked up by masked men, thrown into a van, and taken God knows where. Today we have a president sending some of these people to South Sudan, to Uganda, to El Salvador. We don't know where. People have no relationship to the country they're being sent to. Imagine me plucked off the street, sent to South Sudan, country in the middle of a civil war, virtually no government. Mr. President, that is not acceptable. That is not what our great country is supposed to be about. These undemocratic, unconstitutional policies must be rescinded. The movement...
Now, I've said this before, and I'm going to say it again. Because this has went for so long in getting this far out of hand, because of the unusualness that has brought such grief and sorrow and misery into our lives, such of an unsafe environment, because these problems didn't develop overnight, it's going to take a little longer to cure them, or to attempt to cure them, in thinking that we live in this throwaway society, or this demanding society, or this instantaneously society, that everything is going to be instant, because it's not going to be instant. And I said all along, before even Donald Trump got elected the second time, especially whenever it comes to the illegal immigrants, that yeah, he could do it, but look in what format that he's going to have to do it in. And it's going to give the appearances in a lot of people's eyes that this country has went basically ballistic in comparison to all the giveaways that they was doing for the last 5 or 6 administrations before this one come in power. It went too long, for too long of a time, and now it's affecting people's lives on a day-to-day, everyday basis. And we have our local government to blame as much as our state and our federal government, because it's almost like everybody was walking around in a haze. It's almost like everybody was walking around in a zombie-type state, and it took something like COVID to finally wake people up to start looking at the P's and the Q's. And I still say that that was the primary reason why that so many people wound up at the White House January the 6th. It wasn't because they're instigators. It wasn't because they're troublemakers. It wasn't because they're bad people, ordinarily, by and far. But it's the circumstances that has arisen. And this is the part that the wealthiest of the wealthy, the politicians of today, or the church world of today here in America, hasn't yet grasped as far as sharing the responsibility thereof. The responsibility thereof doesn't just fall upon Northwest Tennessee regarding an individual that stepped out into the eyes of the public from 1989 on in promoting his message to the world pertaining to the end time message regarding the 9 tapes that wound up in Ronald Reagan's presidency on his desk in 1988. But this is by and large all the way around. Christian, non-Christian, American, immigrated American, Democrat, Republican, or Independent. This has went abroad. And until we're willing to come together in unison in trying to figure these problems out, I'm pretty sure that these exchanges that we're seeing right now toward Donald Trump trying to clean up these deadly, lethal cities that these mayors and these other politicians has allowed for it to get this far out of hand, I'm pretty sure that you're going to see more madness. You're going to see more protests. You're going to see more tear gas. You're going to see more rubber bullets. You're going to see, and keep in mind, if this was the very thing that occurred over in China, if you was paying attention to global international affairs, that spawned off COVID to begin with. Because they was having outlashes over in China like you wouldn't believe right before COVID come into existence. And really and truly, COVID was meant for the people over in China by their own people that brought that into existence because of the public getting out of hand. They know that because of social media and because of them being exposed to how other people live and how other people talk and how other people go about their everyday business, that it had already reeked into their atmosphere. And that's one reason why Saudi Arabia, I don't know that they have started yet, but I know there for a long, long time, they basically banned the internet from their country. Why? Because they didn't want their citizens to see how the rest of the world lives. How the rest of the world does have a bit of rights whenever it comes to speaking out and talking and basically showing your concern in a verbal way. Let's listen to the rest of this, please, and then I got one more other thing I have to say, and then after that we'll cut this off.
Toward authoritarianism in this country must be ended. Mr. President, in this very difficult moment in American history, let us stand with the American people and listen to their needs. Let us not throw 15 million working class people off of the health care that they have so that 50,000 people a year die unnecessarily. We cannot allow that to happen. Let us not raise health care premiums by 75% for 20 million Americans. People can't afford health care today. What happens when your premiums go up by 75%? Let us not endanger the children of this country by undermining modern medicine and making it more difficult.
What Barney don't understand is that our children has already been endangered. Our culture has been affected in a negative way. And we have seen more grief and destruction just within the past 10 years, ever since 9/11 occurred, than we've ever seen over here in America. Our streets is unsafe. More illegal activities going on. Birth rates are off the charts whenever it comes to problems. Children that are being born with